The plan is to start the timer whenever I'm reading.
There are some parts in that book that are so horrific, horrendous, harrowing, all the H's.
I get it. I loved it. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing something different this week. I'm just not on a reading grind at the minute. I've been told that I need to be reading 9 books a month to meet my 100 book Fable Goodreads book goal, which isn't really a big deal anyway. I don't really care that much if I don't meet that, but you know, that's what I did last year. I know I'm capable of it, and I can easily read like 10 books a month. So what am I playing at? I'm not sure. I'm thinking, why don't I do a 24-hour readathon and try to complete this in like 4 days? And let's just see how much I can read. At the minute, I'm reading a really short book, so we won't be reading this for much longer. I just picked this for my June TBR, and I thought maybe we could read some of the books that I've read. No, not read. I thought maybe we could read some of the books that I chose for my June TBR. We can read them together over this 24-hour period. And yeah, just kind of try and get back into a flow of reading state, because yeah, it's just been a busy couple of months. The plan is to start the timer whenever I'm reading, and you know, just stop it when I stop, and then just keep going until we reach 24 hours. Do I have a TBR? Not really. Honestly, the books that I want to read right now are the books that I bought in America. So I really like to pick up is it the Book of Lost Souls? I want to say. I don't know if I'm making that up. I want to read Floppy Things. I have Just Friends by Haley Pham, which I picked up in America. I have some Kristin Hannah books. Yeah, I've just got a lot of options. As you may know, if you've ever seen a TBR video of mine, around 100. So consider that whole thing my TBR for this week. When I pick up my book and start the timer, I will come back to you guys. I have actually read almost half of this book. It's only like 180 or so pages, I think, so nice and short read. But yeah, when I start reading this and when we start the timer, I will come back to you.
Coming back to you with an almost 5-hour update. Thankfully, in 5 hours I was able to finish this book. I have a lot to say here, but I also started another book. We picked up When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. Yeah, so let's talk about this. I think I was probably around halfway through when we started the video, and I didn't give you any vibes, thoughts, and like initial feelings when we begun. So I guess you're gonna get all of it now. So in this book we have 40 women, or 39 women and 1 child, who are in an underground bunker. They are monitored by guards that do nothing but keep them healthy and safe, so they can't kill each other, they can't kill themselves. If they get the flu, they get medicine, they get fed enough to keep them alive. And it's all just very basic. The women don't know why they're there. They don't know what happened to get them there, and they don't really understand any purpose. Most of them just literally think they're there to die. Like, nothing's going to happen. They're just going to die. Now, I went into this book thinking that it was going to be a little bit of a journey and I wasn't going to get many answers. And that's kind of true. You don't get any sort of like definitive reasons as to why something happens. It didn't, for me, take away from the book, because the character journey and sort of like the relationships throughout the book were enough. Like, I feel like the story and the meaning is definitely not about why they're there. It's about sort of like what they do with it. And I can't really pinpoint exactly why this book is amazing, but this is a vintage classic. So, you know, people for a while are going to be reading this book and talking about it, and obviously there is a reason why it's so loved. And I think that I can understand. I get it. I loved it. I think it's going to stay with me. I'm trying to think about the best books that I've read this month, and all I have in my head right now is this, even though I've read some great books this month. So yeah, this is where we're at. I think I probably took just under 2 hours to finish this book, and I'm really glad that I finally read it. I'm also really glad that I picked up this edition when I did, because I love it. I love this cover that I have, and now I know that I love the book, I'm just thinking, oh my god, I'm so glad I don't have that awful UK cover. So that's book one done. Very happy with this. I then was looking at my shelf and thinking I would probably like a short read, because if I'm going to try to read a book within like a short span of time, I want something that's not too long. So I've picked up When the Wolf Comes Home, which is around 290 pages. But I've catfished myself. It's not the book, it's definitely me, I'm just not clever. This book is a lot bigger than your average paperback, which means that the pages are longer. So just generally it's going to take me more than your average 300-page book would, I think. So we're about just over a third of the way through the book. I think I'm maybe like 38% of the way through. And I kind of went into this book blind. Everyone that I've seen talk about it has basically said that you don't want to know too much going into it, and I thought that was just for like spoilers' sakes, but it's really not. Like, this book has a lot of depth that I don't think I was picking up when people were talking about it, but enjoying it all the same. If you haven't heard of this book, I think the best way for me to do this is to just read you the blurb, because I don't want to give you anything that might be a little bit too far. One night, Jess, a struggling actress, finds a 5-year-old runaway hiding in the bushes outside of her apartment. After a violent, bloody encounter with the boy's father, she and the boy find themselves running for their lives. I'm actually not going to read the rest of it to you. That's everything that I've got for you. I'm definitely enjoying it. I think that it's going to hurt. You know, I'm getting like stab in the heart vibes coming very soon. But it's definitely surprising me. Because obviously I didn't know anything, but what's happening is definitely not what I expected. And the possibilities are endless with where this book is going. So yeah, this is fun. I did pick up the audiobook last night, and that's my plan for the rest of the day. I have today off. I'm taking a well-deserved break. Not putting any pressure on myself to achieve anything today. I think I would like to put the audiobook on and just get my shit together a little bit. So that's where we're at, 5 hours in, and we've basically read maybe like 2/3 of a full book. I've read like 220 pages, something like that. So I'm a slow reader. That's who I am. I've never completed a 24-hour reading challenge and managed to read like 6 books. Like, that's not me. I'm more of like a 3.5, 4 book kind of person. So I think it'd be interesting to see how far I can get here with no pressure. I finished the book. I did finish this on audio, and I have to say, I feel like I might have to go back and reread like the last chapter, because things got really weird. Maybe that's the horror of it all, that was where it went. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit on it, I think. But I really did love the story in itself. I found it so easy to listen to and also to read. I think that the action and like the pace of the book is so consistent. There was like no points whatsoever where things got slow. Like, it was kind of like perfectly executed, and I think that anyone's opinion on whether this is a good book or not is truly just going to be on the ending. Like, it's going to be about how these events turn out, and I'm undecided to be honest. So book number 2 down, go us. But now I need to pick something new to read. And I'm heavily leaning towards The Passengers. I'm dropping all of the books. I have wanted to read this for a really long time. Ever since I heard what the premise of this book is, I was like, yes, like immediate add to TBR. But I'd never seen it anywhere. I'd looked in Waterstones, I'd had a look on my Kindle, and it was like a silly price, and I was like, I'm not doing that. And then about a month ago, I was just roaming around Durham, went into the works, and they now sell it. So I was so happy to pick this up. This is a dystopian futuristic thriller where cars are self-driven by AI and technology, and someone hacks into the system and it becomes this sort of like TV broadcast where the public get to decide who lives and who dies. I am a little bit scared of... maybe I didn't have my glasses on the last time I checked, because I was scared originally to pick this up just because of the size of the writing, but it's actually not that bad. So this one is just over 400 pages, but thrillers do that thing, don't they, where you just keep turning the pages. That's what happens. So I think we're going to read this next. Really like switching up the genres in this video. I'll come back to you guys when I start reading this, but I'll see you soon. You up a little bit, because I've been doing lots of things that are not reading, but I also have been reading. So let's just rewind it back a little bit. The last time that we spoke, I had just finished, I'm not sure if it was When the Wolf Comes Home or I Who Have Ever Known Men. I decided to pick up The Passengers by John Mars, and I've been reading this since the 1st of June, and it's now the 9th. So I've been very slow, been working a hell of a lot, and just, yeah, not making too much time to read, if I'm honest. But I have actually really been enjoying the book. I actually only have like just over maybe like 100 pages left, 105 pages, something like that. And I was thinking maybe before I finish this we should talk about it. That seems like something that we should do. So this book, if you haven't heard of it, you may have heard of The One by John Mars, and that book is about a DNA type system where you can be matched with like your perfect person. And I don't know an awful lot about that book. I'm not particularly interested in reading it, but I saw that he had this book which was about AI driven cars that get hacked by somebody and then they're all going to die, basically. It sounds wild. So we have 8 or so people, I think, and we're not really sure why they've been chosen, why their cars have been hacked, but it's all starting to feel very purposeful. And the idea of this is that the hacker is trying to hold people that created AI cars and that support them. He's trying to sort of like get them to understand they're not okay and we really shouldn't have this. So I think probably at some point we might find out who the hacker is, but there's tons of different characters, obviously. So you've got the 8 people that are in the cars. You have the jury, which is a group of people who on a regular basis, part of their jobs is to assess AI car incidents and assess whether it's the car's fault or a passenger or somebody on the road or whatever. So you have all of these jurors as well, and then you have like the whole of social media because the whole thing's being broadcast to the world. So it's so interesting. I've really enjoyed it, and I've specifically enjoyed everything that we have had to learn about all the characters. We're in a bit of a turning point because the world and the jurors are trying to decide who survives, and we're getting the opportunity to learn a little bit about all of the passengers. But at the same time, we're only getting one side of the story. So we're dropping like huge bombshells and then not giving the passengers an opportunity to explain why something happened or why they've done a certain thing. It's definitely interesting, and not a single part of it has been slow. I've been really interested in it when I've been picking up. I've literally just been busy. But my goal is to finish this book today. So even if I can read 50 pages now, 50 pages after dance, it means that we can pick up a final book for this video. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you, yeah, I lost the timer, and I think that's probably why I kind of just sort of slept on the vlog, because I
I wasn't timing anything anymore. I think I got to 12 hours when I was around 100 pages into this book. So do with that what you will. We're going to finish this, read something else, and maybe I'll attempt a 24-hour readathon another time, because this one has failed. Who's surprised? Not me. In true fashion of this video, and also me when filming a reading vlog, I started a book that I wasn't in the mood for, so I put it down. And it just so happens that I have about 6 days to read my book club book for this month, which is Winter Garden by Kristin Hannah. It's also on my June TBR, so I just thought, should we just do it? Let's just do that. So I have. I'm reading it on my Kindle, and my Kindle is currently downstairs. And I have a sleepy Rufus, if you can't tell. So I don't really want to interrupt that and go get it, but I want to talk to you guys. So we're going to talk about Winter Garden by Kristin Hannah. I don't think I've ever actually read the blurb of this book, because going into it, I was very much going in blind. And even sort of like the prologue and the first few chapters, they didn't feel familiar, or like, I literally had no idea. And that became very evident when I started reading the book. If someone said to me Winter Garden, Kristin Hannah, I'm like, it's Kristin Hannah, so I'll read it. And that is it. That is literally all I know. So that's what we're doing. I am actually 40% of the way in now, but to be honest, I don't have like tons of thoughts and feelings. Not too different to the 20% mark anyway, so it's not like I'm so far in and like we've not chatted. But we have two sisters. We have Nina and Meredith. And their mother is Russian and their dad is American. They have this like really strange relationship with their mum, because she doesn't necessarily show love. Like, she isn't like a nurturing woman. She's so in love with their dad and she loves him to pieces, but just doesn't seem to have like any emotions towards the girls, which is obviously a little bit weird. We also have Jeff, who is Meredith's best friend turned husband, you know, as we time jump after the prologue. The journey in this book is seemingly about the relationship between the mother and the daughters, and it's not like one I've read before, because it's not necessarily clear, but I'm getting the impression that mum has so much trauma, and I'm really intrigued to see where it goes and what happens with it in terms of the relationships between the three of them, because everyone is damaged by mum's trauma, even though only one of them has lived it. So it's definitely interesting. That's where we're at. Sorry that it's been it's been a little bit up and down, this reading vlog. I spent a good like 3 hours listening to the audiobook today, which is how I got so far in. And yeah, we're just chilling now. Obviously Rufus is quite clearly almost ready for bed. I'll come back to you guys if I have any other reactions, thoughts, vibes, or when I finish the book. Because I'm so sorry. When I switched to reading Winter Garden not too long ago, I forgot to tell you that I finished The Passengers. I did. I just didn't review it. So let's talk about Winter Garden first. I'm sorry if you can hear the boys. Rufus has his brother here, so it's a real sausage party here at the minute. But anyway, let's talk about Winter Garden first. Yeah, Kristin Hannah does it again. I don't know if I would like wholly with my heart rate this one 5 stars, but I also know that if this was the first Kristin Hannah book that I'd read, I'd be rating it 5 stars. But it just so happens that I've read her other books and I know that she has better, which is just crazy. And I said this to the book girls as well. So we
the book club read Winter Garden together, and we discussed it last week, and it was wonderful. It was the most wholesome night. And I said to the girls, I was like, anyone that hasn't read the other Kristin Hannah books that are so well loved, you're so lucky that you get to dive into that world now and experience them for the first time. Because what I would do to read The Nightingale for the first time, honestly, just such a wonderful book. But anyway, Winter Garden, I did really enjoy it, and it wasn't as good as her other ones, because I think some of her other books are just not in the same league. I think a lot of people in the book club figured out what was going on before the characters did, and they were like, come on, catch up, like it's obvious what's happening here. But I didn't really see it that way. I kind of had an inkling, and then I thought it could be something else. But yeah, I think a lot of people guessed what was going to happen. And the one thing that I will say is there is something rather convenient that happens towards like the last third of the book, and like leads to the book wrapping up quite nicely. And that kind of felt easy. And I don't really like saying that, because I don't know, it felt like for the sake of a happy ending, let's throw that in there and yeah, just give them something to be happy about. But I don't know, yeah, it just kind of felt a little bit convenient, and the girls felt that way too. So I know it's not just me. I did cry. Boy, did I cry. There are some parts in that book that are so horrific, horrendous, and just harrowing. All the H's. I cried. I cried on the sofa, like sobbing tears, and it will never ever not amaze me that Kristin Hannah doesn't need to experience these wars and experiences and, you know, all these different points in time. She doesn't need to experience them herself to write about them so, like, emotionally, and to make something that you haven't lived, to make it so touching and real to your readers. There is literally no one like Kristin Hannah. I am honestly yet to find an author that does it like her. Winter Garden was unbelievable. Obviously, I recommend it. And then The Passengers. So obviously, off the back of absolutely loving Winter Garden, I don't have that same attitude and emotion towards thrillers. Thriller and mystery books are not my genre, but I think if you throw some sci-fi dystopian vibes in there, I enjoy it way more. So I definitely really enjoyed the dystopian elements of this book, the way that AI works, the way that everybody could see what you were doing and where you were traveling, and I don't know, it wasn't even that dystopian. Like, we have cars that drive themselves around the world, so like it's not that far off, but like the way it was written definitely felt a bit more futuristic than what we have now. I really enjoy the AI car element, and then a really bad person coming in and being like, I will take control, and you think that technology is the best and it's not. And yeah, that thing just appealed to me, and I actually really liked how it was done as well. However, there is a however. The end of the book was so rushed, and it's like a 450-page book, so it doesn't make sense whatsoever that it felt in any way rushed, because it's a thriller, and like thrillers are not, like, they tend not to be that long, but this one was a bit longer, yet still had a really rushed ending. And I kind of get it. It felt like you'd watched like a really great TV show and had so much depth and just wonderfulness. Like, you'd really enjoyed it. And then like the last 10 minutes were just like, oh, like, is that it? Like, is that really the way that we've gone with it? That's kind of what it felt like. I would say it was probably like a 3.75 to 4-star read for me, and I would recommend it, especially if, like me, you want something a little bit different in your thrillers, and if that difference is dystopian sci-fi, I think it's a good one to go for. So that wraps up this video. We managed to read 4 books, and yeah, I was really switching up those genres there. We really got a little bit of everything. Would I have finished them all in 24 hours? I'm not confident, but who cares? If you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please comment down below if you've read any of these books, or based on my reactions, thoughts and feelings, if you have any recommendations, I would love to know. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.